Welcome to Real Conversations with Kelly. I am Kelly, and I'm joined by my co host, Heather. And together we're diving deep on the journey of becoming, what it means to grow, to stumble, to awaken, and to transform. And today we're asking a big question. If we could go back to our younger selves and give ourselves advice, would we take it? And more importantly, does it even matter? The conversation isn't just for deep thinkers. It's also for parents, mentors, the ones watching their loved ones make choices that they wish they could shield them from. So take a deep breath and let's get started.
Okay, so Kelly, here is our topic for the night, something that I think is going to be really interesting. If we could go back to our younger selves and give ourselves advice, do you think we would actually take it? And if not, why?
Well, if I'm talking about myself, I probably wouldn't because I was a Miss Know It All. I knew everything. Nobody could tell me anything. And I was going to do what I wanted to do. But yet I was kind at the same time, and I was giving, and I would go out of my way for people. But if I really looked at me, no, I would not.
The interesting thing is we listen to a lot of health gurus or personal development gurus, and they always ask that question. And a lot of them answer, oh, if I was 20 years old again and I was to go back, here is what I would make sure to tell myself. And they would give whatever advice it is. And it's so interesting because what you just said, I think about it with myself. Would 20-year-old Heather listen? Would 20-year-old Kelly listen? And what you're saying is basically, nope, probably not. So then that begs the question, why would we even do it? Why ask that question? And why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we?
Well, why wouldn't we? I feel like there are certain things that we were taught that were going to happen in our teens, were going to happen in our 20s, were going to happen in our 30s, our 40s, our 50s, our 60s. And if those things didn't happen and we went back and said, hey, the reason why this hasn't happened is this, this, and this. And I would look at myself and go, you're crazy. You're absolutely crazy. But we have to remember we came from a totally different era, totally different time. I was born in 63, so I am 61. I'm about to be 62. Very proud of it because I have made it this far. And I feel like the generation that I was in the boomer generation. I was at the very end, the very, very end. And that really kind of made me, it's kind of like being on the cusp of something. Do you believe this way or do you believe this way? Because even the next generation acted totally different than I did. And you're in that generation. I didn't mean
Right.
to put you in my generation, but yes, because baby boomers were up until 1964. And then 1965 was Generation
Gen
X.
X.
Okay. And isn't this interesting? Okay, Generation X was 1965 to 1980.
Then, yep, that would be me.
Okay. And completely forgot about this. You were called the latchkey generation.
Oh, yeah, you're
Yes.
right. Yeah. More
Mhm.
more
Because
parents, more
divorce
moms.
rates were up
Yep.
and the economic was so uncertain. So uncertain.
Well, it was a case
And
of both parents, no matter what, both parents were
right.
working outside the home. I had forgotten about that. That's true. The latchkey kids. You're right.
Yep. Yep. Rise of the computers.
Yeah.
Computers came out then. MTV and pop culture.
Yep.
Gosh, MTV. Love MTV.
Much to my mother's dismay when it first came out.
Oh
Kind of like
yeah.
Elvis Presley. And
Mm-hmm.
was that more your generation or was
Yes.
it before your generation?
Elvis was part of mine.
Baby boomers.
Yes. And the defining moments then were the civil rights movement, and everybody
Uh-huh.
knew about that because Jane Fonda was in the middle of it, Janis Joplin. I mean, there were just so many people that were taking a stand against the war.
Right. Right.
And, they were looking for equality and justice. And then the Vietnam War and landing on the moon. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
Landing on the moon.
it's really interesting when you could take a look back and see from each generation the things that were happening at the time. So where my brain goes to when we think about going back to our younger selves, it's like we are taking the thoughts of today and the things of today and the advice of today and going back to a time that was in the past. So
Right.
there's another reason why we probably wouldn't even have taken it because we didn't have any bearings on it.
We could not stand. It's almost like somebody says, "Did you see the sign over there that said do not enter?" And you didn't see it because it wasn't something you were looking for. And then all of a sudden, somebody has brought it to your attention, and you look over and go, "Oh, okay." So until somebody brings it to your attention, that's where your attention will go.
It makes
Mhm.
me also think about like literally if my future self came back to speak to me and was going to tell me about some of these things, I probably wouldn't want to know basically because I don't want to go through that. Or a case of if I knew how bad that I was going to be divorced 2 times, or I was going to move around the world 5 times, or I was going to do all of these things, I
Right.
probably wouldn't have even wanted to know. So maybe a little of the reason why we wouldn't pay attention to ourselves is because if we really knew how things could go, I don't want to say bad life could be, we probably wouldn't even want to do it. Why even try?
And it's all about the experiences. You got to remember that.
Right.
Your experiences create who you are.
Correct.
Okay. So if you didn't go through the 2 divorces, if you didn't go through losing that job, you would not have learned from that. We
Right.
learn from our mistakes, we learn from our experiences.
Right.
And I mean, I've experienced a lot. You've experienced a lot. I won't go into what I've experienced because, hey, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are like, yeah, we've experienced you.
Right. Move
and
on.
and you know what? I'm okay with that because I learned from it. And I feel like I have found I, I've always been kind, but I've found the kind and compassionate
Mm.
person inside of me. And the person that takes the deep breath. And if I had told my younger self to do that, I think I would have stopped breathing
Yeah.
because
What do you think helped you develop that?
wow, a lot of not being kind,
Mm.
a lot of not being kind. Yeah, there are a lot of people I was not kind to, and I was mean, and because I was headed towards something that I thought was amazing. And I mean, we never we never stop our journey because the dash is what's going on. We were born, we start living. We live, 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 and then we get to the end and we die.
Right.
It's the journey. It's looking at it. I think that's why I really feel like that is why I was so mean, is because I was so lost.
Ah,
I was so, so lost. I could not do what I wanted. I had to do what everybody else told me to do. So I acted out and I learned from that. But then again, I learned how to get away with it.
mm,
And then I brought that into my teens. And then I went into my 20s and was probably clinically depressed and never admitted it. And it just was what it was. But I made it because I decided I've got to learn something from everything that I've been doing. I
got it.
have to learn something. So I started on a journey of doing self help seminars and spending money that I didn't have, and which is a baby boomer trait. We wanted to develop ourselves
Mm,
into something. We wanted to be self reliant. And I could not admit that I was not.
got it. So
So,
it's as if you're saying really truly that the gift of experience
mhm,
over advice, because let's face it, some lessons
mhm,
in our lives, they can't be taught, they have to be felt.
yes,
So
felt
then,
and experienced.
yes, let's discuss for a little bit the pain, the things that caused us a lot of pain, and how they become our spiritual teacher.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
Failure, heartbreak, disappointment. Why would we
right,
want to continue to go through that?
right. I lost so many friends from the time I was 19 until I was probably almost 35 or 40. Lost
How,
so many friends.
how did you lose them?
It was almost like I would learn something and I wanted everybody else to know about it. And I wanted
Mm.
everybody else to experience it. I would like go, "Oh, I just went to this course and it was amazing. And I totally changed the way I'm thinking about things," and started like describing all of this, and they're just looking at me like, "Yeah.
You're a little
No.
cuckoo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have lost it."
Yeah.
So that was a big part of the fall, if you
Mm,
will.
mm.
And I realized that the only way that I was going to be able to even keep friends is to like be a friend,
Mm.
is to be a friend.
We mentioned in the beginning that this was going to be a show for parents as well. You haven't had any kids personally, but you have helped so many friends. You have been such an amazing auntie to my children and to your besties' children. We all would say if we could save our children from the worst of the worst, we totally would do it. But as we've talked about earlier, there is value in going to the things that they are meant to go through. Um, I think one of the things that gets in our way is we have lack of control over it. How do we let go our kids and let them experience their own pain?
Well, I say, oh my goodness, let them experience their own pain. That is just such a Such a great way to put it. We can be there in silence. We can pray a lot. I know I pray constantly. I believe it's my faith in knowing that God's got this.
I love it. Many, many years ago, when my daughter was going through a difficult time, and I had somebody come up to me and tell me that I needed to let go of a little of the control, let go and let God, because she was not only my daughter, but she was also his. And that really hit me, that no matter what, she's going to have to go through her thing. She's where she's at along her own journey, but God has her.
Hit your knees and surrender, because I feel like that is the part that people forget.
Mm.
They forget that surrendering everything to God is going to catapult you. It's going to catapult whoever you're putting in your space. It's going to take them to the next level. And it might hurt along the way, but we learn so much from the pain that if you allow your child to experience pain and be there for them, they will be so much better for it. So much.
I wouldn't hold that from my children. The things that they're learning, the things that they have gone through, as hard as it's been in a lot of ways. Bottom line, they are who they are because of the things they've gone through. And you and I are who we are because of the things that we have gone through. I am grateful who it has shaped me to be.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think that goes to our last little point we wanted to talk about is really legacy. What are you wanting to leave behind? So talk to me a little bit about that. What does legacy mean to you?
Legacy means I have changed my life that has changed somebody else's life. And I am an example of what other people aspire to be. And that's what it's all about. I mean, people are aspiring to be so many things. And if I can just change one person's life, then I'll be happy. That's why I'm here. And I'm ready to do it. I'm ready to take it to the next level. When I pass away, I hope they say, "Oh my gosh, Kelly changed my life. Oh my gosh, Kelly said this to me, and I'm now who I am." Or I didn't do this, and I thank God every day that I didn't. Kelly had said that she had been through the same thing, and this happened. Wow. It would leave me speechless. And so really going back and talking to ourselves and expanding who we are and looking at the mess and trying to fix it with what we know now, I'm good. I'm good. So maybe you can tell us what you feel you would do. Would you go back and talk to your younger self and say, this is what I've learned? I'd really like to see what you have to say about that. And then tell me what your legacy would be. What do you want to leave on this earth that people will talk about? All right. Thanks for joining us for this episode of Real Conversations with Kelly. Thanks for hanging out with us, growing, learning, messing up, and trying again. It's all a part of becoming the person we have always wanted to be. If something hit you today, put it in our chat. We'd love to hear from you. If you're a parent trying to guide your child through this wild thing called life, hang in there. You're not alone. We'll be back with more conversations. See you in the next episode and have an amazing day.